Oh, boy. What a headline. How about that? So you guys know the Cincinnati story where that couple got beaten? It wasn't just a white couple. Another bystander approached, trying to stop the fight, and he got beaten too. And now they're trying to argue that, hey, well, this guy who got beat, he started the fight. Sharing this image where he's putting his hand on the face of another man. And there's a white guy slapping a black guy. Sure, fighting happens. It's bad. The issue with the video is not that a fight broke out. Fights break out all the time. The issue with the video is that they mercilessly beat this guy. Other people jumped in. And then when the lady went to check on him, they beat her too. And when another guy showed up asking what was going on, they beat him as well. So this is mob violence. Now, the funny thing is you get this lady cop, and she comes out and says, it's social media and the media causing all these problems because you're not accurately conveying. And hold on, lady. No, you are not accurately understanding what people are upset about. It doesn't matter who started the fight. We've talked about mutual combat laws like Seattle. There's got to be a cop there to referee. The idea is if two people want to fight in Seattle, you're allowed to, so long as once the fight's over, it's over and you don't beat the guy on the ground. The point here is, by all means, we can get mad at the white dude for starting to fight if that was the case. Sure. The problem isn't that a fight broke out because fights break out every day. The problem is that a group of people based on race mercilessly beat another group of people, which included two bystanders, not a guy who started the fight. And that's the game they want to play. Well, this is funny. The Federalist runs this story. We need to get women out of men's spaces. Oh, geez, we're going there, huh? So, we've had this long-standing debate, I guess, over men and women's sports and the argument about men being in women's spaces. But something interesting happened with Rep. Nancy Mace. She talked about how she was the first female to graduate from, I think it's called the Citadel. And a lot of people challenged her on this, saying, why is it that if a man is in a woman's space, it's a problem, but if a woman is in a man's space, it's championed? That's a double standard. That is a fact. The question then becomes what qualifies as a man's or woman's space. I don't think anyone's arguing that men shouldn't be nurses or teachers or whatever. So claiming that being a police chief is just a men's space doesn't get at the same issue as the trans debate. But there is still a question about whether or not women on average will have the capability to be a police chief. I don't think, here's what I'm saying. You don't ban women. You set a criteria. However, if we actually set a criteria for capability, it may be that women are less likely to get those jobs. I believe that if you want to be a police chief, you shouldn't be an old guy who can't actually do your job. I don't care if you're a man or woman. If you want to be a cop, you should have to be physically fit. I think that should be a requirement. Instead, we get these, let's be honest, guys, in Chicago, you got big old chunko cops and firefighters. It's like, come on, man. Come on, why are we tolerating this? I don't care if it's a woman. I care if they can do the job. But let's see their argument. I do want to update real quick. The DOJ is talking about a DOJ probe, and I believe there have been like 5 arrests. So the federal writes, there's a lot to say about the disturbing footage of a violent mob beating a man and woman in downtown Cincinnati. But one thing that shouldn't go unsaid is that the outrageous and offensive response from the Cincinnati police chief, Teresa Thiege, is yet another reminder that we should get women out of men's spaces and out of men's professions. Policing is a man's profession. So is soldiering, commercial fishing, and underwater welding, and so on. That's not to say women shouldn't be able to serve in clerical roles in the police force or in the military, but they have no business leading police departments or being deployed in combat areas. I'm going to pause real quick. I think the issue at hand initially was there are women who can do this job. Banning women as a whole eliminates talented people, rare though they may be, from serving, and especially women. Banning people based on race or immutable characteristics can eventually inhibit your ability to get good people. You're excluding people you shouldn't. That being said, I think it's fair to say most women probably shouldn't be cops. I'm sorry, it's a fact. Most women should not be cops. Should women be allowed to be? I think so. I don't agree with where he's going. Because I'll put it this way: if you're a 6'7" massive woman and you weigh 240 and you're muscular, why are we going to tell you no? A guy like robs a liquor store, you can grab him by the collar and be like, "Little man, put down liquor." It's like, yeah, we get it. You're a large woman. You can police. The problem is they lower standards because they want parity. They say, hey, look, you're only hiring 90% men. That means you're sexist. And you're like, no, it's because the women don't pass the test. Then the test is sexist. Then you get these videos where it's like 3 dainty little overweight women cops struggling to arrest one guy. And then it's funny because a real video. They drop their handcuffs and they chase after him and he's just gone. Are you kidding me? Anyway, let's read on. He says, this is or should be commonplace observation. But ever since the sexual revolution of the 1960s and the rise of feminism, we're all supposed to pretend that women can do any job that men can do. What nonsense. Take, for example, the spectacle of Thiege, an older, overweight woman who is somehow the chief law enforcement officer of a major American city. In a press conference this week about the violence in downtown Cincinnati, Thiege scolded the news media and the public for sharing and commenting on video footage of the incident posted to social media. The footage, she said, didn't depict the entire incident and showed only one version of what occurred. I don't care. I'm not mad about that. I'm mad about the fact that the fight was over and they kept going and they cheered it on and laughed and they beat random white people. I'm going to say it again. That first guy, if your argument is this, because there's video, I've seen it where I guess he slaps the guy. I'm being careful because this is the internet. If that man started a fight, he is wrong and he should be charged for starting a fight. And they ended the fight. But after the fight ended, they kept going. They kept beating him. They wouldn't stop. A mob came around. Other people joined in. The dude was down. When the woman shows up and to check on him, they stomped her out too. What fight did she start? A third guy walks up. They clocked him and he falls down and bangs his head on the bumper of a vehicle. That's what I'm mad about. And she's going, yeah, but they started the fight. Yes, you can start a fight. Okay? And that's a problem. But the other person has a duty to stop. And this was mob violence. And we believe, I think it's fair to say, race-based. Ridiculous. Why am I even saying this right now? Y'all get it. In an imperious, irritated tone, Thiege then complained that social media commentary and news coverage of the video are making her job harder. The video, Thiege claimed, distorts the content of what actually happened, and it makes our job more difficult. Of course, she didn't say how it distorted what happened or why online commentary would make the incident harder to investigate. Pressed by a reporter on what exactly the video distorted, she gave an honest answer saying it just shows one side of the equation without factual context. What was the missing context? She didn't say. But her meaning was clear enough. She doesn't want people viewing or commenting on the video because of the racial element of attack, a mob of black people attacking 2 white people and knocking the one out cold. For anyone who's seen the video, no special context is needed to understand what's being depicted. A black mob is attacking a white man. The person filming it is reveling in the attack. And when a white woman steps in to help the man, she gets punched in the face and goes down unconscious. And there's another guy. And again, I'm going to say it because they keep making this argument. He started a fight. They ended it. The lady didn't start no fight. The other bystander didn't start a fight. And the fight ended when he went down. But y'all kept stomping on him. That's the problem. You know, some people have brought this other point. Where's the video footage of white people stomping on a black guy? Honest question. If it exists, it's a problem too. We just don't see it, do we? He was going to mention its disturbing footage shows mob violence in a downtown area that appears to be totally lawless. Now, I'm going to say it. He doesn't point out that people are saying the white guy started the fight by striking the other guy's face. And she's going, yeah, well, he started it. I ain't playing this. They're going to say, Thiege, like most women who have risen through the law enforcement ranks in large cities, is totally committed to DEI and social justice. Apparently, that's one of her, people have pointed out she has like in her profile, inclusivity or whatever. So Cincinnati Police Department, let me read. She's currently being sued by 4 members of the Cincinnati Police Department for discrimination against white men on the force. Quote, the city and Chief Thiege have actively and systematically undertaken efforts to promote, advance, and make promotion and assignment decisions that are preferable to women and minorities and to the exclusion of white men, the lawsuit argues. The officers who brought the suit claim they were passed over for preferred assignments and that ever since Thiege became chief in 2020, a race-based quota system has been used to promote women and racial minorities. I'm going to say it like this. I'm not going to go as far as John Daniel Davidson here. I get his point. I don't blame all women because a psychotic zealot racist is trying to defend a mob of violent black people who mercilessly beat white people. That's not a woman issue. That's a racist issue. I agree, however, if they held standards based on aptitude, mental clarity, and physical capabilities, you're probably going to get overwhelmingly male cops. What we have seen play out over the past several decades is this silly game of lower the standards so that women can get in with parity. I'm over it. So it's an interesting argument. But it turns out maybe it's just a racist crackpot Marxist in your police department. I don't know. I got to be honest. When you look at the polling data, women are more likely to be Marxist too. I'm going to leave it there. Smash that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Have a nice day. We'll see you on the next segment.